What's going on, y'all? It's still iTrendz with iTrendz, bringing you the iTrendz 4-to-1 trading method. Here you're going to learn how to A, protect your entries, B, take profits along the way, and C, put yourself in a position to where you can maximize those profits with our runner contracts without risking your whole position. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. This is the trading plan that we use here at iTrendz to not only protect our entries, maximize our profits, and also lock in those profits along the way. Now, this is something that you can implement into your daily trading journey because, as it's said through a lot of successful traders, it's not about the amount of trades, it's about the amount in the trade. And the iTrendz 4-to-1 really utilizes that, having 4 contracts or some kind of version of that, and really maximizing as the trade goes along, securing a profit, locking it in. So that way those trades don't go green to red on you, and then you end up with a lot of losing trades. Without further ado, let's get started. So the iTrendz 4-to-1 plan was created by myself, truly. Zach and I have tested over thousands of trades, tons of hours of modifications, just really getting it to where it's extremely successful and works. Now, obviously, you want to stick to your trading plan as you have it, but this is great to implement if you're looking to expand on your trading journey or just gain more knowledge into the market. Now, how the iTrendz 4-to-1 plan works, you buy 4 contracts. The first 3 cuts are going to come 25% of that position, so 1 contract a piece. And then the last one is known as the runner contract, but we'll get that into a minute. So the 4-to-1 plan, the first cut comes when that position's up 20-30%. The reason we do this is to protect our entry position. Let's say we cut it that 20-25%. That gives us leeway on the bottom side to re-add that, just to make sure we have the most accurate entry when it comes into entering a play. That second cut is going to come when you're up 40-50%, just to lock in that move, because we have seen a volatile market here of recent. So you just want to make sure that you're locking in profit and taking money off the table. That third cut comes when that position's up 65-75%. That way you have the maximized gains and you have 1 contract left at the end, and that's referred to as the runner contract. Our last contract being the runner is there so that way you can capture those excess gains. It's a really common response. Well, when do I trim? Or what happens if, I cut the position at 80% and the trade went for 100, 190%? Well, this is a great way to leave yourself exposed to that potential upside and also lock in profit along the way. So that way that trade doesn't go green to red on you. Now, that runner contract should never go negative from that first cut position. So once you're up 25%, that's where your stop loss is going to go for that trade. The goal is to capture that higher move, like we said. The idea is that you're playing with pure profit on at least 1 contract and you have less to manage. It's not a full position as you're trying to manage at that top range, because we know that once contracts do start to top out, Theta does like to step in and mess with those contracts pretty drastically. So you want to just make sure that that runner contract never goes red, and also that you're taking profit off that, because potentially that you could get maximize gains, and we've seen them go for a tremendous amount. And it's just a blanket of security and peace of mind for yourself as a trader, because you've already taken 3/4 of your position off. You already locked in those profits for the day, and you have 1 that could potentially capture more. So in this example, this is just one example. This is actually a Disney trade, a 10-7 contract and a 100 put. This is just the iTrendz 4-to-1 plan being implemented on the trade, so that way we were maximizing our profits. If you've been trading as of recent, you've seen drastic volatile moves. As you can see at the end of this trade, it actually reversed and went red if you were in the whole position. But we bought to open this early in the morning at $1.19 a contract. We ended up making our first cut at 27% from 119 to 151. Now that first cut, like I said, is to protect the entry of 119. If this trade were to reverse pretty drastically, really fast, but respect our support and resistance levels, and we did have a little room on the bottom just to make sure that our average was spot on. Something I'd like to also say is that whenever using the iTrendz 4-to-1 plan, that you want to respect your support resistance levels. You want to have your take profit levels already set. You want to know your plan going into it, and then use this as a way to trim and cut and manage your play, not just jumping into a trade and saying, okay, I'm going to use the iTrendz 4-to-1. You have to know your plan and know where you're going always. Anyway, second cut came at 47% from 119 to 175, close enough to that 50%. We just want to lock up that profit once we broke below our support and resistance level. So we took that. We ended up taking another trim down to runners at 62%. That third cut or these percentages don't have to be spot on. You just want to be locking in that profit at a pretty decent rate or split in between. So as you can see, we kind of topped out, or that on this position, it did top out down here at the bottom here at that 98.70. Ended up getting stopped out at 201 for 70%, just because saw the trade kind of reversing, volume flowing in. We wanted to make this a positive trade. Didn't want to cut in any lower, and 201 made us 70% on the trade, so ended up blocking that out. As you see, the iTrendz 4-to-1 plan doesn't take a lot if the trade is moving in your direction, and it also protects you from a trade reversing. As you can see, this trade happened within a matter of an hour and 30 minutes, and then all of a sudden the trade reversed all the way. These contracts ended up at 60 cents, so you would be drastically red, and you wouldn't have locked in any profit if you were just to hold this the whole way through and not really have a plan on what you were planning on doing, just because of how volatile those contracts were and how drastic the move was. But the benefits to the iTrendz 4-to-1, and this is something that I like, and we teach our members in our Discord group, is that it gives you the ability to protect that entry with that first trim. Like I said, that 25% does give you that little wiggle room towards that downside, or lets, if you're trying to get a stop loss right at your even point, it does give you a little buffer room just in case it goes through that stop loss or doesn't stop you out, or you need to adjust it just down a little red. It does help you protect that first entry point. Next, you secure profit on volume spikes. As you can see in that previous example, pretty drastic fall down towards the bottom here. Locked in this profit, then it had a drastic reversal and didn't change the rest of the day for our day trade. So just off this volume spike, using the iTrendz 4-to-1, we captured this move and we locked in our profits. That, like I said, was saying in the beginning, peace of mind. That's the biggest thing, I think, implementing the iTrendz 4-to-1 into your trading style is actually going to help you as a trader, because knowing that you locked in profit and you're not worried about the whole position altogether. Instead, you're taking profit along the way, knowing that you locked it in. It's just going to change the way you trade, and it's also going to just give you a little rest, knowing that you don't have to worry about a full position. You've already taken profit along the way, and then you've got one or two to deal with at the very end. And on top of that, with that ever so looming question, it could have went for 3,000%. Having that runner contract, having that stop loss set, it does give you that potential to capture that higher move, but you're not risking that whole position. Like I said, the overall goal is to remain profitable and remain consistent. And that's the biggest thing as a trader that you want to be, is that you want to stack those little gains. You want to smack those base hits instead of just going for home runs and grand slams, because eventually you will strike out doing that method and seeing time and time again. But when you're implementing that iTrendz 4-to-1 with those stop limits set in at the certain positions, it is going to protect yourself from those reversals or minimize those losses, like I was saying on the very first point. Here's an example of the iTrendz 4-to-1 trade working in a defensive manner or protecting yourself from a trade. So this was Apple. We entered into a 150 call, and early in the morning off that big volume push, you can see the 150s we entered in at $1.62, trimmed at $1.82, 13%, just because it was the first 10 minutes of trading. Just want to locked in a little bit of that profit. We did see a lot of volume going into QQQ. We saw the VIX spiking, and we saw the dollar rising. So we know that conditions could have changed, but you see, we made that trim at 25%, $1.62 to 202. Now, that being said, we had that 25% locked in, and then we end up setting a stop loss up at $1.85, just because we could see it topping out of our range. And that iTrendz 4-to-1, you're always setting your stop at that next position. So at that 202 is where we set our next stop, just so that way we protect our whole position and end up getting stopped out at $1.92 and still secured in 19% profit. If we would have held that throughout the day, you can see that this trade reversed and went way red even after hours, and the following day we would have been down 15%. So imagine being able to lock in 25% on your first batch of contracts and then 19% on your whole trade. Is a lot better of a day than just holding in there, praying that the trade reversed, not really knowing what you're doing, and then ended up being down 15% and the trade never coming back. So this is just one way that iTrendz 4-to-1 also works in a defensive manner, and it'll help you protect that bottom side or your stop loss and minimize your losses. So with that being said, this is your iTrendz 4-to-1. I'm going to go back to this main slide. That way you guys take a picture if you'd like. If you'd like to help implementing it or you want to see it live in action, go ahead and check that Discord link below. It's going to give you access to our community. It's going to give you access to our new learning center that we've been working really hard on, that actually rolls out the following week. It's going to give you a lot of knowledge, a lot of basics, and also give you little tips and tricks along the way with videos from myself and from a few of other of our traders. It's going to also give you an area where you can just look up certain different topics. If you want a quick graphic or a quick look, that's in there for you. We do live trading every day, starting at 8:45. We start rolling in there until about 1 o'clock. So if you want to come live trade with us, you're more than welcome to. Also joining our family of traders. We have a lot of great members that keep everybody up to date, up to check, and really keep you locked in. If you want to, go ahead and like this video, hit the like button. If you like just a little bit more, hit the subscribe, or you want to dodge more of our videos, hit the subscribe, get out the way. Hit that auto view up in the top for us, if you would, the autoplay. That just gives us little views. So it helps out iTrendz tremendously. This has been a video on the 4-to-1 trading method proprietary to iTrendz. And this has been the Stale Hand Sandwich. Peace.